Hi guys. Um, Sorry, I'm not looking my best. Oh well, it was a hard day today, but it's nighttime, and I know I haven't made videos in a long time. Just kind of had, I don't know, just you got to be in the whatever to do it. If you're gonna do it, to me anyway, you got to be. It's got to come from the heart. It's got to feel real when you do it. I don't want to make a video just to please anybody. It's got to be something I'm really feeling inside. So anyway, Uh, tonight I'm making this video because I've had some people contact me. I want to thank all of you subscribers and all you people that contact me. Thank you so much. You all are just so wonderful. And even though I haven't made videos for a while, you guys have been keeping in touch, and I want to tell you I really appreciate it. Um, I've had a lot of people contacting me about they're worried about all this doom and gloom stuff that you keep reading about. Oh, an asteroid's going to hit us, there's going to be a major earthquake, there's going to be what have you. I've had some people just, I mean, they feel like they're losing it. They're so scared that they're doing things like, even quitting their jobs, trying to find safe someplace to go and hide, what have you. And the only thing I can say about this, guys, is um, obviously there are changes going on, in our atmosphere. Things are happening. But the only thing we can do is to have common sense and stop and think about it. Regardless of any doom and gloom predictions that all these people on YouTube do, you should be prepared for things anyway. I mean, it shouldn't be only because somebody's predicting gloom or some major catastrophe to happen. You never know what can happen. It doesn't matter where you live or if you think, oh, nothing's going to happen here. You don't know, okay? Many things can happen due to nature or, man-made things. And you do have to have the common sense to figure, well, if something happened, like say for instance the electricity goes out, okay, in the wintertime especially, that's something I think about. If your electricity goes out for an extended period of time, do you have what you need to sustain you? Um, no, I'm not talking about these people who have, 5 rooms in their house piled to the to the ground with food and water, which if that's what you want to do, great. But think about it. Think about where you are right now in your home. Think about your kitchen. Think about whatever. Do you have water? Do you have enough water to sustain you or your family for a certain amount of time? Food. And then you always hear preppers saying, oh, get beans and rice and that type of stuff, which is all well and good if you have a place to build a fire to burn, to boil the water to cook the beans and rice. Um, I personally say, hold on just a second, guys. Hold on. Ah! That heater was going to come on, and I don't want it to come on. um, anyway, as I was saying, think about what you have. Um, Beans and rice and all that, yeah, that's all well and good, but if you don't have a place to boil your water to cook them, you're up a creek. So my advice to you, obviously, is, have canned and packaged foods that you can just eat. Don't have to worry about cooking. And I'm making this video because I'm really surprised at how many people are so scared. They're so frightened of things that are, could possibly happen because of, there's so much doom and gloom, so many doom and gloom videos, date after date. On this date, the world's going to end. On this date, this is going to happen, what have you. Well, as we all know, all these dates come and go, but that doesn't mean that nothing's going to happen. I mean, where I live, several years back, the electricity just all of a sudden went out over the whole city and was out for 2 days. And that was a pretty scary thing. You start thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What are we going to do? So my advice to you is just make sure you have just your staples, your food that you can just eat. I personally don't want to, like say if the electricity went out right now for a week, I don't want to worry about having to go out back to build a fire to boil water to make beans and rice. Um, so yeah, my son and I, he talked to me and we talked to each other, and it was like, okay, let's get something together. So we did. You know, we got some food, got some water, because you don't know when the winter comes, especially if you're living in an area. You know, we hear this on the news all the time where, you know, in the eastern, northeastern states, they get slammed pretty bad for the winter. They have the ice storms, all of a sudden electricity's gone. You guys need to get things together, you know, get some stuff together for those events in case they happen. They have those, you know, those little blankets. They're called like emergency blankets, space blanket type things. You can get them at Walmart for like $3, and they keep 85% of your body heat in. So when you wrap them around you, you know, you're not freezing to death. You need to think of things like that. There's a lot of little things, you know, you can get online. There's so many things. The emergency blankets, the ready to eat food, plenty of bottled water, if you have medicines that you're going to need, and simple things like, you know, a little antibiotic ointment for a cut, or alcohol, or something to cleanse a wound, you know. You just have to think about all the things that you might need in a time span where you would be without electricity or could get injured because of what's going on around you. But you can't live your life feeling like every day is going to be the end of the world because of all these doom and gloom people. I mean, I admit that there are things going on that I think are strange. Um, there's an uptick in earthquakes. The weather is getting kind of crazy. There's no doubt. I'm sure there's reasons behind it. But you can't live your life every day feeling like it's the end of the world, because you won't be living your life. And you can't, don't let anybody take that from you. But you do have to have common sense, especially if you have children. You have to stop and think right now while you're watching this, what if right while you're watching this, your electricity goes out and it turns out to be some major thing, whether it be an accident or something in the power lines, or who knows, maybe a terrorist thing, who knows. Um, but if you're without electricity, think about what would you do right now. If all of a sudden you turn around, it's like, holy cow, the electricity's gone. And then you find out that it's going to be off for days and days. And if you've got children and pets, you have to make sure you have something there for them. And as you all know, if something like that were to happen, yes, you do have to be a little careful, because people will, or I'd say very careful, because people will become desperate in times like that. So you have to prepare. You know, have the basics ready, so that you and your family, your children, your pets don't go without during an emergency situation. Those 2 days that we were without electricity, it was very weird. It was cold. For one thing, it was winter, and I could not believe how cold it was. Unbelievably cold. It was very hard, and I just, you know, I understand all of you having your fears. You know, those of you that have written me and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. Should I really prep? Should I really this? Yes, you should prep. No, I'm not talking you have to go to the extremes that you see some where they have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars worth of food and water stored, but enough to get you, say, through, you know, a week or two, something like that. And especially in the winter, you need to have something to keep you warm, because what if, let's just do the worst scenario. Let's say some terrorist hit, or the solar flares that they're talking about now that could take down our grid. You know, what if that does happen? Do you have what you need to get through? And I realize a lot of you are saying, "Oh God, I could barely pay my rent or put food on the table." I understand, but that doesn't mean you can't start planning. You know, a little bit here. Maybe you can only afford a couple cans of stew or something next time. Start adding to it. Buy a thing of water. That's cheap. It's a couple bucks to get bottled water now. Um, just start adding to your little stash, and most importantly, like in the winter, I would I would really invest in those emergency blankets to keep yourselves warm, and make sure you have plenty of blankets and socks and gloves and things for you and your children, your family, or if you have elderly people, because though that's very dangerous for them. Have what you need, and you don't have to spend a lot of money. You can go to thrift stores, you can go to things like that to buy that kind of stuff and get it fairly inexpensive. But I know from that happening here, just a couple days, it was like, wow, that was very scary. And we don't know, guys, let's be honest. We don't know what's going to happen. There's so much going on in this world. There's so much anger and animosity amongst people now that who knows what's going to happen. And yes, I am concerned that they are talking about this, the power outage drill. It's like, wow, we've been around how long, and we've never had a power outage drill. There must be a reason that they think that we need to start having power outage drills joined by, I think it's Russia and the UK, if I remember, I'm not sure, but other countries are joining. Mexico, I think, another one. But they're having power outage drills. Now, that's something that didn't used to happen. We have the earthquake drills, obviously, because there are earthquakes. They have the terrorist stuff set up because we have terrorists. Well, now they're having power outage drills. To me, that says something, guys. To me, that truly says something that they feel. I don't trust the government. Just, I'm sure anybody who knows me knows, I don't trust the government at all. And I believe that the reason they're starting to have these power outage drills is because they know something's coming. That's what I believe. I mean, I could be dead wrong, but to take the time, expense, and all that they have to do to have these drills, I find it very strange, and I find it a little unsettling that now we're having power outage drills. I believe it's supposed to occur this week, 13th through 14th or something like that. Um, well, guys, they didn't used to have power outage drills. Now they are, and they have talked. If you get on the internet, there are, good articles, not just some bozo putting up some crazy site, but there are articles about what can happen as the sun, puts out these solar flares, and what it can do to us. And the fact that we are having these power outage drills, it makes me very suspicious of why are we doing this now? What do they know that they're not telling us, to avoid panic or what have you? But there's a reason they're doing it. They're not having power outage drills just for the fun of it. There's got to be a reason they're having these power outage drills. So guys, I don't know how you look at it, but I look at it like there's a reason, okay? Just like the earthquake, just like terrorist training and terrorists, all this other stuff, and you know, uh, they have all these other type of drills. Well, they do it because those things occur. Well, we haven't had a massive countrywide power outage drill to where this is called for. So to me, guys, use your heads. Uh, I don't know what is coming. Nobody really knows what's coming, and I don't trust our government at all. I'm sorry, but I just don't, especially now that I see Obama and what he did to everybody with this healthcare thing. I really just don't trust our government. And when I saw that they were having that power outage drill for this month, that my first thought was, why now? Why are we doing this now? What do they know that they feel it's necessary to have one of these now? I find that strange. I really do, guys. So I'm getting a little prepared, and right now my son is living with me, and we're getting a little prepared. We're like, you know what? In the middle of winter, what if the power went out? We'd be freezing in here. Our dogs would be freezing, we'd be freezing. So we are making a few preparations. No, we're not going hog wild and crazy, but we are preparing for at least a certain amount of time in the event something does occur, because we just don't know. And the fact that they're having these drills, guys, I'm telling you, that just has me wondering, why now? After us being on this planet for so long and having electricity for so long, all of a sudden now our government needs to have power outage drills. That just says something to me. So anyway, guys, um, bottom line is, stop, and when you're done looking at this video, think about it. What do you have? What do you have to keep you warm? What do you have to feed yourselves, to give yourselves, water? What do you have in the event of something like that occurring? If the electricity were to go out, well, your refrigerator food is worthless. So don't think, oh, I'm going to go stock up on meat and all of this. Well, if that goes out, it's worthless. Yeah, some of you will get a generator. Not everybody can do that. So you have to stop and think, how much do you have? I say get a bunch of canned stuff, packaged stuff that will sustain you. Because number one, if it's the middle of winter and say you're stuck and you can't you know, there's no place, maybe you're in an apartment building and all the power goes out. You're not going to be outside, all of you cooking on a whatever, you know, to boil water to cook beans and rice and what have you. You need foods that you can eat quickly, you know. I'm into health food, but at times like that, of course, you're going to eat whatever. So, you know, cereals and any packaged goods that you can eat to sustain you. That's all it gets down to. And canned, you know, you can get canned stews and you know, the vegetables, the stews, the chilies, the this, the that, all kinds of stuff. You can get the beans already cooked in the cans. You know, they're a good source of protein. Even though they're high in starch, they are a good source of protein. But you can get cans of beans already cooked. So my thinking is, yeah, if you want to have the beans and rice and dried stuff like that, that's great. But you have to be in a place where you can go out and boil water to cook it. So guys, don't be so scared. To those of you that did contact me, look, it is a scary world. There's no doubt. We've got so much going on. Okay, so many people seem to be going crazy for some reason. It's just like, I don't know what's happened, but there is a lot of sad, strange stuff going on. And the most you can do is take care of yourself, maybe help your neighbor, but you can't take care of the world. And for those of you that have written me that are so depressed and sad, almost suicidal because of the state of the world, you can't take care of the whole world. Try to take care of you and those you care about, you know, the best you can. But yes, be prepared, because I had one ask me, should I do anything? And I thought, of course, should you? Yes, you should do something. Because right now, as you watch this video, if all the lights around you went off, just you blinked and all of a sudden you open, everything's black, it's gone, and it was going to last for a week or two, what are you going to do? Seriously, what will you do? If it's freezing cold where you are, or it's going to get very cold where you are, what are you going to do? How will you sustain yourself? And remember, if electricity goes out, you don't have a toilet either. You don't have a shower or a tub. Um, so you would have to plan for all those things. You know, baby wipes, get a ton of baby wipes. Think about, sit down and think about the basic things you would need to get through each day. Food, water, your toiletries, what you can use maybe to cleanse yourself if there's no running water. Make sure you have your medicines. Um, and then you women out there who've got to have your makeup. You know, that is, but you know what I'm talking about. Um, just use your common sense. Sit down, write a little list. I mean, literally sit down and write a list. Okay, what would I need day to day to get through if there was no electricity, if the water stopped, okay? It's a serious thing, and this happens to people. I've seen it on the news when, you know, in the winter, some of these other states where they get really hard winters, you hear about the ice just making all the power lines go down, and they're without power for days and days. People have died. You don't need to die over this if you are prepared. And the main thing is to be able to keep warm. Go to your thrift store, stock up if you don't have a lot of money. Stock up on gloves and socks and heavy blankets and things to keep yourself warm. Get those emergency blankets. They're only $3. You can even order them online. You can order packs of them. And they do, I even had a nurse tell me that they use those in the hospital for people who have hypothermia. They put them around them to get their body heat to get back, you know, their core back to normal. They work. And that's why they have them for camping and everything. So guys, don't get scared. Don't freak out. Don't lose your minds. Don't start thinking suicidal thoughts of, oh, what's the point of being here? Look, we're all here for a reason. We don't know the reason, but we do have to use our brains. We can't just sit back and say, oh gosh, the electricity went out and I don't have a stitch of food in my kitchen or water. Well, whose fault is that? It's nobody's but your own. And like I said, particularly if you have kids and pets, you got to take care of them. They're counting on you. So make a list, sit down, write down what you think you would need day to day. If say you're without power for however many days, and you know, sometimes there are shelters for people to go to, sometimes there's not enough, you know. And then they say that, you know, if the solar flares were strong enough, they could actually take out things that would affect how our cars run, unless you have an old car. How our cars run, how everything runs. So you got to stop and think. If something happens, will I be able to get somewhere? If not, will I be able to take care of us while we're waiting for help? And that's the thing, guys. You got to be able to take care of yourself while we wait for help. Um, I don't know what else to say except that you can't spend your everyday thinking that the world's going to end, because if you do that, your world has already ended. You know, it's like, what's the point? That's not living. And I don't deny that I have fear sometimes. There are certain things that put a little fear in me, like, I think about it. And I have to stop and say, okay, well, I can sit and be scared thinking about it, or I can plan and decide what to do in case that event should occur. And that's a much better way to live, guys. So I have missed all of you, but I appreciate all of you keeping in touch with me. You all are very wonderful. That's all I can say. And I hope to I'm going to try to keep making videos. There's just been a lot going on in my life, a lot of changes, unexpected good changes, but still, nevertheless, changes that, take up your thoughts and your emotions and, your heart, and you can't always just all of a sudden start making videos. But I'm feeling very relaxed tonight, and it feels good to talk to all of you again. But do as I say. Instead of being scared about this coming winter, it's approaching us fast now. Um, Make a list. Get out there. Go to your dollar stores. You can buy food at the dollar stores, canned and packaged stuff, anything to sustain you, to get you through a certain length of time. There's so many things at the dollar store. You can buy socks and footies and all kinds of stuff to help keep you warm, gloves, you name it. There's a lot you can get at those stores that they're $1. And it's not going to be gourmet food, of course, but it will keep you alive. And that's the whole thing here. If you're thinking, oh my gosh, I can't afford to go out and buy a ton of groceries just to set aside, yes, you can. Um, Go to the dollar stores and stock up on canned things like the stews and the soups and the this and that, and the packaged things. And I'm not talking, just cookies and chips when I say packaged. I mean things that have some nutritional value to them. Um, Protein bars, stuff like that. Look for that stuff and start getting yourself a little stash so that in the event, if it happens, you are not sitting there saying, oh my goodness, I have nothing to eat or drink. My car's not working, because they say some things that can happen could actually affect the cars, depending on what's taken out, in terms of the grid or the satellites and that type of thing. Our cars are computer run now. They're computers in there. So you have to be prepared for the fact that maybe you wouldn't be able to use your car. Who knows? But if you get yourself prepared to where you have what you need in your own home, in your own space, uh, I say do it. Because if you don't, you're the one who's going to be hurting. Your family and your children and your pets will be hurting because you didn't plan. And there's no reason not to. And if you're not hurting financially, there's especially no reason for you not to have planned for an event that could occur. Because they are saying that the sun is acting weird, and there are solar flares that could take down the grid, and there are things that can happen now. The country, the governments, everybody, these things are getting serious. Between the country and the governments, it's not so peaceful anymore, guys. I'm sure as you're well aware. The United States is not the much beloved country anymore. In fact, they're starting to look at our country like we're a bunch of nuts, and it's a little frightening to know that possibly, things could go bad between us and many of the other countries. So we need to be prepared. And I also say have protection. I'm sorry, I'm a believer that you have protection in your home, because if something like that does happen, people do go crazy. They get nuts. It's a survival instinct, I'll go out, they say, I'll go after anybody to get food and water for me or my children, and that's a survival instinct. And sadly, we have to protect ourselves against that. But, hopefully nothing like that will ever get to that point in this country, but we can't know because of the changes coming, because of the things that are happening. A major earthquake where there's, extreme damage, severe damage could happen to any of us. None of us are earthquake free, no one. And we just don't know. So Think about that. Think about if, say, you had an earthquake and you had to run out of your house and it's freezing cold or snowing. Do you have your, do you have stuff ready? That's the other thing. Have stuff ready. Like, say something that your house starts shaking and you think, oh my God, I got to get out of the house. Are you going to run out barefoot into the snow or whatever and freaking freeze and get hypothermia and who knows what else, frostbite? You got to be prepared. Have these things ready by the door. In the winter time, I say have stuff ready by the door. Coats and shoes to run out in case you need to. Um, Even if you just have to grab them as you go out. I'm not saying, oh, if there's an earthquake, I think I'll stand and put my coat and socks on, shoes on. No, have something ready by the door, like in a bag or something, to just grab and go out. You guys, you really do need to plan for this stuff. And for those of you that wrote me, don't, all I can say is don't spend your days thinking this is it. The end of the world is here. We're, you know, all these doom and gloomers on YouTube, they have scared a lot of people and they've caused a lot of people to take some pretty drastic steps. And that's sad. Because there's a difference between saying, yes, let's be prepared, be a responsible adult, be a responsible person, and be prepared for events that could occur. There's a difference between that and somebody who gets on there, oh my God, there's an asteroid, it's headed to Earth, and then we find out it's 20 million miles away as it passed, you know. Okay, guys. Obviously, yeah, be aware. I'm not saying ignore everything you read, online. I'm not saying just read it, go, oh, BS, that's such crap. I'm not saying that because, to be honest with you, I don't know who's telling the truth anymore. We can't know anymore. Excuse me. We certainly can't trust the government to tell us the truth. So I say just be aware, be alert, and cover yourselves. That's it, guys. Cover yourselves because no one else is going to, especially the government. And there's nothing else you can do but cover yourself. So think about it, guys, and don't get so scared. And I just felt the need to make this video because I actually had somebody tell me that he wanted to commit suicide because he felt like there was no reason to go on with all that's going to happen because of what he's seen on the videos. Well, guys, don't do that. Um, you, to be honest with you, we could walk out the door tomorrow and die. I mean, get hit by a car or have a heart attack or who knows. We don't know. We could die in the next 5 minutes. Nobody knows when their time is. But that, so you just have to live your life day to day. Plan, prepare, so when things occur you don't feel so helpless because that's what causes the fear. That's what causes the hysteria when an emergency happens or when things happen, an event happens or a catastrophe. People are unprepared and so they feel so helpless they just lose it. You lose it because like I say, if the electricity went out for days or weeks and you're sitting there with nothing, you will become hysterical because you're thinking, oh my God, I have no food, I have no water, oh my God, I have no blankets, I don't have everything, you're going to freak out. But if you plan as best you can, and of course that's not going to avoid all trouble and problems for you, but it's better to be prepared than not be prepared. So try to do that, guys. Take a little edge off of that fear. Those of you that wrote me, I'm thinking of you. And be prepared instead of walking around being scared all the time, because that's not going to make it better for you if an event does occur, which I'm sure, things are changing and things probably will occur. So guys, take care. I'm thinking of all of you and those of you that wrote me about all your fears about the end of the world, doom, gloom type of stuff. Well, they've been predicting it forever and we're still here. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't use your brains to be prepared for emergencies and things that could happen, guys. So take care, y'all, and I will be making more videos on various subjects as usual. So talk to you later, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.